I'm going to show you how to make these checkerboard blocks using a strip piecing method that is super fast and easy. Using these 4 strips, I can make 2 checkerboard blocks. So I'm going to arrange them here in the order that I want them. Blue, pink, blue, pink. Totally cute. I'll take the first 2. And I'm just going to sew them together along the long edge with the 1/4 inch seam allowance. I have a straight stitch sewing machine. It only sews straight stitches. I'm using a stitch length of about 1.5 because I'll be cutting these strips apart later, and I want to make sure that I have small stitches so they don't come apart later. Now I'll sew the other 2 together in the same way. Okay, now that I have my 2 strip sets pressed, the seam allowances are pressed towards the darker side, I can just line them up like this, alternating color pattern, lay them one on top of each other, and you see here that the seams are now going in opposite direction. This one's pressed this way, this one's pressed this way. So even though I'm not sewing that together now, I can kind of like nest with my thumbs. And then by nesting this seam right here, this kind of locks in place. And then I know that this edge is going to stay straight. You could continue and sew this 3rd seam before you press, but I always press first just to get the pressing out of the way. And also, see how easy it is. I just hold it here with my thumb and guide it with my other hand. And with my thumb, I can feel that these 2 seams are locked together. So I know that it's going straight. My seam, my 2 pieces of fabric are straight and aligned perfectly. So here we go. Let's see how it looks. There we go. Before we move on, I'm going to press this seam too. I'll line up the strip set on one of the straight lines on my cutting mat. And then I'll use this line to just trim off these edges. There we go. Next, I'm going to turn it. You should be able to get 8 2.5 inch strips here. I'm cutting my strips 2.5 inches wide, the same width that the original strips of fabric were. Cut. I'm just going to go ahead and keep cutting until I have cut the entire length of these 20-inch strips. Here comes the magic. I've got these 8 columns. Each one I cut from my strips, and if I alternate the way the columns lay, just like this, you can see that I've just about got a checkerboard block. Isn't that cute? Now, I want you to note that because I press the seams all in one direction, all towards my darker fabric, now my seams are alternating just like that, so I can easily nest my seams when I go to sew the blocks together. I'm going to start with this one here and just lay it right over. My seams nest nicely, you see here. That is such a help. That means that I don't have to pin. I'm just going to sew this with a 1/4 inch seam allowance. I'm going to lengthen my stitch to a 2 now because I won't be cutting anymore. And I'm just going to go ahead and sew. I can feel right here that the seams are nested and that they are going to lie perfectly flat. And it's also going to give me a perfect matching corner. So let's see. There we go. That's beautiful. Let me do it to this one. these two together. Look at that, isn't that adorable? A perfect checkerboard block, super fast. And I still have enough columns to make one more. This is the same method that I used on my glitter quilts. I just love the way all the little squares come together and make it sparkle. I use this exact same strip piecing method instead of cutting hundreds of little squares, so the glitter quilts came together really fast. I hope you'll check out the patterns in my Etsy shop. Happy sewing!